College of St. Thomas with a Bachelor of Arts degree in marketing. Tom began his career at Ecolab, where he was promoted 4 times in 10 years. In 2008, he joined Avis Budget Group as the Vice President of Sales and Marketing. 3 years later, he was promoted to President. During his 3 years as President of Avis, profits increased by 34%. Tom has been busy in his retirement. He serves on 2 boards, is an advisor to an equity firm, and he has written his first book, which is titled Lead with Heart, a bestseller that focuses on his message that business is personal, and that by opening ourselves up and truly caring about each other, we can transform organizations. It is indeed my pleasure to introduce our speaker to you, Tom Gartland.
Well, good evening. Rob, thank you, and Frank, thank you for your kind words, and to the entire alumni staff for inviting me to be here tonight. I'd also like a special congratulations and thank you to the class of 75. Some of my classmates are here, and or 74 and 76, many of whom I interacted with during our time here at Cretin. I was truly flattered when I received a call from Rob earlier this spring asking me to speak tonight. You know, we have many famous alumni from the years in the 70s, including Paul Molitor, another Luker, General Joe Votel, class of 76, good football player with me. Another Luker, ended up moving to the west side, but originally was Luker. So it's a bit surprising that an average student from the class of 75 is even here tonight to speak. You know, I've been truly blessed with great fortune and good luck, and I've had the pleasure of wonderful and talented people surrounding me my entire career. Like many of you, I grew up in St. Paul, went to a Catholic grade school, St. Luke's, to Cretin, and then to the College of St. Thomas. It's now a university. I think they've upgraded my degree. Anyway, at best in my estimation, I was an average student my entire life, scholastically. And I think what I'm really trying to say as an average student, it was really the foundation of the education I received here based on Christian values and military discipline that certainly carried me a long way and absolutely impacted my success in life. My 4 years at Cretin were the most influential years of my life. But more about that later. After graduating from Cretin, I went in 75, I attended St. Thomas. I got married in 1978, and by the time I graduated in 1980, my wife and I had 2 children. I'd like to introduce my wife of 40 years. Barb, please stand up. And 2 of my 4 children, my son Kevin, you'll stand up, and my daughter, Lizzie, and her husband, Joe. I would also like to recognize someone that is very special in my life, and my mom's best friend, Eileen Roberts, who along with her husband, Red, have been great friends and supporters of the Gartlands all our life. And also, Eileen, would you stand up? The class of 47 from St. Agnes, Eileen Roberts and her family. And not able to make it tonight physically, but one of my dad's best friends and a mentor to me my entire life, Dr. Tom Botel, class of 1944. I'd like to recognize him as well, please. And last but not least, I understand that there is a classmate of my father's from the class of 44, Tom Paschal is here. Tom, are you here? Would you stand up from the class of 1944? And lastly, I'm very proud to call this woman my sister, and that's Peggy Gartland Schaefer. Worked, I'm sure, with all of you in the class of 58 and 68. Peggy Gartland, thank you for your love and support. So, back to St. Thomas and getting married and having 2 children caused me to take a very different route through college. For 2 years during college, I worked full-time at Paper Kelmans and Steel Company on Highway 280 on the 7 to 3:30 shift. I then got home and went to night school on Monday through Thursday from 6 to 10 every night. And when I worked at Paper Kelmans and Steel Company, I would get my 15-minute break in the D Bay, and I would stand and look across the street to Midland Hills Country Club. And I would see guys golfing during the day. And I decided right then and there, when I graduated from college, I was going to get a job that would allow me to play golf during the day. And I decided to become a salesman. Well, I thought that would lead to golfing during the day and entertaining clients. And to this day, I've still not had the opportunity to play Midland Hills. But I hope I will one day. When I graduated, I applied and was hired by Jack Lockenmeyer at Ecolab. I'm convinced that Jack, who is a graduate of 1965, hired me because we were both Cretin alums. And Jack, from that day in 1980 until this day, sitting right next to me, has been a friend and a mentor and has been instrumental in my life. Jack, would you stand up? Class of 65. In addition, when I was hired at Ecolab as an entry-level salesperson, I was trained by a fellow named Nick Fahey. If anybody of you know him, he was also the class of 65, a really tough-minded person. And he really did not go easy on me. But I received fantastic training from Nick, and it's lasted a lifetime. Over the 14 years under Jack's mentoring, I rose through the ranks at Ecolab, and when I left in 1994, I was the Vice President of Corporate Accounts, North America. But in 94, I took a risk, and I went to work for a competitor of Ecolab called Diversey, who was then bought by Unilever and ultimately bought by the S.C. Johnson family out of Racine, Wisconsin. During that 14-year span of my career, I continued to grow as a leader, and ultimately, in my last 6 years at Johnson, I was the president of their $1.2 billion business in North America. But after 6 years of leading that business and truly great success, I hit a ceiling. And it wasn't a glass ceiling. It was, my last name wasn't Johnson. So, being part of a family business, I had no opportunity to grow further. So in 2008, I took what was probably the biggest risk of our lives, another huge risk. And my wife and I moved to New Jersey, and I went to work for Avis Budget Group in April of that year as the Executive Vice President of Sales, Marketing, and Customer Service. And some of my friends counseled me that I was making a huge mistake. Counseled me to leave as the President of North America. Why would I ever accept a job as an EVP? And they suggested I shouldn't take the job. Well, I knew that I was being hired as a potential candidate to replace the then current president at the end of 2009. I believed in my ability to work hard and thought it was my time to take another risk. Remember, that was April of 08. The Great Recession hit in September of 08. Avis Budget Group stock fell from $13 a share to 79 cents. We were delisted by the New York Stock Exchange in January of 2009. And it seemed like the floor was falling out from underneath us, and the walls were caving in. So when that happened, I was faced with a choice. I could feel sorry for myself for leaving a great job at SC Johnson and a great career, or I could pull myself up by my big boy pants and go to work. Discipline, hard work, determination, integrity, and willingness to succeed and to give it your all. All values we all learned while here at Cretin proved more important in 2009 than whether you went, as some of my colleagues did, to Harvard or Yale or any other Ivy League school. In 2010, we were back on our feet. Our stock was back trading at $13 a share, and it was time for the current president to retire. I was then promoted to the president of the North American business, which was $4.5 billion in revenue. We had 22,000 employees, and we rented and managed 350,000 cars in North America. But that's a commodity business. The rental car business is a commodity business. And in my opinion, if we were to succeed as a company in this industry, we needed to change the culture of the company. And we needed to build a trusting and winning organization. To help build that trusting culture, I started sharing with everyone in our organization 4 of my core beliefs, my guiding principles, which began to connect us all in ways that ran clear and deep. And I believe they connected with people because they spoke to their hearts. The first guiding principle I shared was that I believe in family first. I wanted those I work with to know that I care about them and their families. And I wanted them to feel the same way about each other. I let them know that I was committed to them with the implicit assumption that they are committed to their careers and to our companies, and that we all treat those we are working with as part of an extended family. As a result, I came to know that people around me were there for me, and they knew I was there for them in the same way. Through good times and bad times, through peaks and valleys, plateaus, we were sharing a commitment with each other that was becoming deep and visceral. The culture we were creating together dismantled any kind of hierarchy and any focus on ego. It created an understanding of humility and integrity. And people were drawn to it naturally. We also knew that the feelings that we were creating separated us from our competition, and our customers began to feel it as well. My second guiding principle was working half days. I would explain to everyone, you only need to work half days. Then I would add, that's 12 hours a day. While they knew I was kidding, the underlying message was to give it your all. I expected everyone to be committed fully. It's not about punching a clock, it's a state of mind. It's about going the extra mile and coming through for each other and for our customers, so we can all succeed. My third philosophy was about winning, and it starts with the firm belief that we can all make a difference. If each of us improves a customer's experience in one new way each day, then we as a company are going to succeed. So I didn't talk about revenue and profit, I just talked about the customer experience and doing one new thing to make a customer happy each day. If we did that, all those little successes don't just add up, they multiply. And they create huge and significant differences. Those wins create truly a caring culture along with renewed revenue. We are all in a position to make a difference, whether we're solving a customer's problem by creating a smile or to enhance their experience. And when our customers won, we all won. That's how we did it together, and that's how we won. The fourth guiding principle that I shared, I learned from developing trust, comes from the phrase that I repeat often: words plus actions matching. Words plus actions matching. I first heard those words from Margaret Thompson, one of the counselors at Hazelton Betty Ford Foundation. And she said it comes down to trust. And to trust you, I need to believe in you. Trust is really that simple. Ever since hearing that phrase, words plus actions matching, I apply it to everything I do, personally and professionally. When you say you're going to do something, follow through. When you make a commitment, live up to it. Be true to your word. And that was our message. It's all about having principles and sticking to them. So I borrowed this phrase, which beautifully captures something I've always believed, and made it to be one of my key leadership tenets. 4 years later, when I decided it was time to retire, we had grown our company by $2 billion in revenue. We were now a $6.5 billion revenue company. We had 22,000 employees, 400,000 cars. Our profits grew by 34%. And we had, which I'm most proud of, world-class employee engagement scores. And our share price rose from $13 to $69 a share. And in the book I talk about one phrase: take care of your people and the profits will follow. So you might ask how an average student from St. Paul Cretin High School was able to be so fortunate in his career. And it all comes back to our foundation and principles we learned here in this school, in our school at Cretin. Along the way over my career, I finally figured out it's not about me, it's about you. I was able to understand that if you treat people you work with dignity and respect and love, no matter who they are, where they come from, the color of their skin, their sexual orientation, or their faith, but just treat them as human beings, valuing their contributions, no matter how big or how small, from the person who cleans the restroom all the way to the chairman of the board, you will be successful beyond your wildest dreams. When I finally figured out I was able to walk into a room and say, hey, look at you, instead of think, hey, look at me, my world began to change. So at the end of 2014, my wife and I decided it was time to begin phase 2 in our career. Family, children, grandchildren became our priorities. And in mid-2015, I decided to write a book titled Lead with Heart. The subtitle is Transform Your Business Through Personal Connection. It was published by Ben Bella Books in May of this year, 2018. And for my classmates from 75 and 74 and 76, if you're here, I see John Hanahan, I'm not going to forget you because you've been with me a long time. I have a book for you that I'd like to give you at the end of the evening. The book is really about my experience and thoughts and opinions about leadership. It contains provocative questions at the end of each chapter to stimulate the thinking of the reader, and an opportunity for self-reflection on one's values and morals and beliefs. Designed for the reader to focus on the people he or she surrounds themselves with. In addition, there's a few great stories in the book from friends of mine, like Tim Fincham, the former PGA Tour Commissioner, Dave Ridley, the former CMO of Southwest Airlines, Adam Johnson, the CEO of NetJets, and professional PGA golfers Steve Stricker and Tiger Woods. You can find it on Amazon or BarnesandNoble.com if you're interested. I would like to end with my story, sharing more about my time while here at Cretin that I referred to prior. I was blessed with beautiful experiences here while at Cretin in faculty, including the Christian Brothers, in particular Brother Basil, our principal, Brother James, Brother Lawrence, Brother Pius, our military instructors, Sergeant Stevens, Sergeant Major Stewart, and Colonel Foss, our lay teachers. Many of you will recognize these names: Bob Selp, Carl Charper, Mike Kurtz, Ted Joyce, Lynn Horiza, Tony Kaminsky, Bill Tierney, Roger Wolf, and Bubs Boland, and with many friends like Steve O'Hara, Bill Wren, Paul Olson, Gary Procup, Lane Hendel, Jimmy O'Neill, Scott Huna, Mike Tierney, Tommy Barrett, Jerry McGraw, they're here, Steve Roth, Steve McDonald, and I was surrounded by great athletes both in hockey and in football. But my most memorable experience here at Cretin came through great pain, and a demonstration of unbelievable love from my classmates. On March 23rd, 1974, my father, Mel Gartland, from the class of 1944, was 48 years old. I was 16, and he died suddenly while on vacation in Mexico. His wake was at Wilberscheid Peters Mortuary on Grand Avenue in St. Paul. When our family arrived and we walked into the chapel, at the head of his casket and at the foot of his casket stood one of my classmates at attention in their full dress military uniforms. Rotating classmates, changing to the guard, so to speak, every half hour from 3 p.m. till after 9. The next day, when his hearse pulled up in front of St. Luke's, now St. Thomas More, my classmates from the classes of 74 and 75 had formed a military honor guard from the curb of Summit Avenue up the steps of St. Luke's and all the way to the front of the church to the communion rail on both sides of the church, in honor of my father and my mother and our family. What a glorious and inspirational, moving sight. To this day, I have no idea who was responsible for organizing this unbelievable gift. But the actions of my classmates on this sad, sad day exemplifies why we love this school, this institution, our values, our principles, and why we all support Cretin-Derham High School. So thank you, formally, 44 years later, to my classmates for your kindness, support, and love. Thank you to Cretin for providing all of us a strong foundation in which we built our lives. And thank you to all who continue here at CDH, students, parents, alumni, faculty, and friends who who have built this community over the last 122 years and continue to support it, allowing our children and our grandchildren the privilege of a faith-based, disciplined education and experiences to cherish forever. Thank you.
Awesome. Tom, thank you for that very, very inspirational keynote address. And thank you for coming back home. Before we close for the evening, a couple of thank yous. I want to, I don't know if the JROTC are all gone, but I want to, let's give a round of applause to our student helpers team. I would also be remiss if I didn't thank our staff from the advancement office who plan everything here, get this Peggy and Mike Bunn. They're all, I don't know if they're all still here, but thank you. Let's give them a round of applause. And just a few dates to remember coming up in the near future. CDH Homecoming is the week of October 1st to the 6th. A lot of activities and, of course, homecoming games if you hopefully can come back over. The annual CDH Gala, it will be held at the University of St. Thomas on November 3rd, 2018. You can check our website for details and to register. We hope you can make it. That's going to be a very fun event. And then our annual Give CDH Day is set for November 8th, and we hope you participate. We really appreciate all your support to keep this great school going and the values that Tom articulated. And but that is it for this evening. We look forward to the 123rd Cretin Alumni Banquet next year. You can stay and visit, obviously, for a while. But thank you for coming again. Have a great evening and enjoy your time together. Thank you.